Imagine a culture that, for millennia, has learned to turn every penny into a strategy. While much of the world spends without thinking, there is a group that analyzes, calculates, and avoids certain waste as if their own financial freedom depended on it, and perhaps it does. In this video, we will reveal the 7 things that the Chinese avoid at all costs when it comes to money. And believe me, understanding this can completely change the way you deal with your finances. The first thing that catches your eye when you look at the financial behavior of the Chinese middle class isn't on a spreadsheet. It's in the closet. While in many countries, consumption has become synonymous with identity, with people spending whatever they have and whatever they don't have to wear a t-shirt with a brand name printed on the chest, the Chinese, for the most part, cultivate a completely different mentality. For them, wearing a simple $10 t-shirt with no logo, no brand, no ostentation, is a source of pride. But not out of pettiness, but because it represents self-control, priority, and financial intelligence. Buying expensive clothes just to impress someone is seen as empty behavior, an emotional trap that only reveals one thing: insecurity. The logic is straightforward. If you need to prove that you have money, it's because you don't have peace of mind with it yet. In the Chinese mentality, true status isn't in appearance. It's in wealth, freedom, the ability to say no when everyone else is saying yes. By the way, did you know that many millionaires in China are known for living extremely simply? Not because they can't spend, but because they know that spending for vanity's sake is the quickest way to go back to square one. That's why they prioritize using their money to invest, start businesses, or provide for their children's education instead of supporting a lifestyle that only feeds their ego and drains their bank account. There are people out there with $1,000 in the bank and $2,000 in their closet. Meanwhile, many Chinese prefer to have $100,000 invested and discreet clothes that no one notices. And this is no coincidence. It's philosophy. Now think about it. How many times have people bought an expensive outfit just to go to an event, post a photo, and then never wear it again? How many installments have they taken on just to look successful? Meanwhile, the financially wise do the opposite. They seem simple, but they are quietly building fortunes. And there's another place where money flows almost without you noticing. And the most curious thing is that it comes with the smell of fresh coffee. Literally. Get ready for the next item. The routine seems harmless. You wake up, get ready, stop by the corner coffee shop, pay $7 for that fancy coffee, and go on with your day. But this habit, repeated religiously from Monday to Friday, ends up costing more than many people imagine. At the end of the year, that's more than $2,500 literally evaporating into hot smoke without generating any real return, except for a few minutes of pleasure and a stylish cup in your hand. In Chinese culture, this would almost be comical. Not because coffee is bad, but because paying a lot for something that can be made at home, for a fraction of the price, doesn't make economic sense. Their logic is very clear. If you need caffeine, make it at home. If you need energy, sleep better. If you need status, maybe you're trying to fill a hole that no amount of money will fill. The focus there is something else: spending with purpose, and transforming small daily savings into gigantic investments in the future. Think about it. How much do you think someone could accumulate if, instead of spending $7 a day on coffee, they invested it in a fund that yields 6% per year for 10 years? The answer is surprising: more than $10,000 just by exchanging convenience for awareness. And it's not about cutting out pleasure. It's about not being manipulated by automatic habits that silently consume your freedom. By the way, a cultural curiosity. In China, making tea or coffee at home is not just a financial issue. It's almost a ritual, a moment of pause, focus, and even gratitude. Meanwhile, in the West, the same act has become an automatic expense, often driven by haste, anxiety, or even by trying to fit into a certain lifestyle. The big question is not whether you should stop drinking coffee. It's whether you're willing to review small habits that, over time, steal great opportunities. Because the problem is never the coffee. It's not realizing that every day you could be buying comfort and selling your future. But the next waste is even more sneaky because it comes disguised as security. You think you're protecting yourself, but in reality, you may just be enriching others. Third waste: useless or poorly contracted insurance. When well chosen, insurance is a valuable shield, but when contracted in a hurry, without reading or thinking, it becomes a silent drain on your budget. And that's when many fall into the trap. They think they are being responsible, when in fact they are just paying a high price for empty promises. In the United States, it is common to see people with multiple policies for electronics, cell phones, short trips, and often low-value items, all of which cover minimal risks, with high deductibles and poorly explained coverage. Why? Because a salesperson pressured them, or because the offer came as an automatic click at the time of purchase. In China, however, the approach is different. There is a collective mentality of studying deeply before signing any contract that involves money in the long term. The idea is not to live without protection. It is to protect what really matters, at the lowest possible cost, without being led by fear or by the smooth talk of a commission-earning agent. Many Chinese prefer to set aside the equivalent of the value of small policies in their own emergency account, where the money continues to earn interest and can be used freely. The question they ask themselves is simple. If this insurance didn't exist, would I be able to solve this problem with my savings? If the answer is yes, the insurance is discarded. Now imagine the following scenario. Someone pays $20 a month to guarantee the replacement of a cell phone that cost $300. After 2 years, they paid $480 for a device that didn't even break. And if it breaks, the deductible for the replacement is $150. The result? More loss than protection. This type of waste is subtle because it is disguised as responsibility. But in the end, it is just another way of outsourcing financial peace of mind to a company that profits precisely from your fear. And the worst part? Many people don't even know what they are paying for anymore. Old insurance has been automatically debited for years, with no use whatsoever. So before you buy any protection, it's essential to ask yourself, is this really worth what I'm paying for? If the answer isn't a firm and informed yes, it might be time to cancel and redirect that money to a place that truly protects your future, your investments. And speaking of salespeople, the next item is one of the biggest drains on your money, and no one wants to admit it, because this waste is comfortable and incredibly expensive. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel. This shows that you are truly committed to your financial evolution. Now, get ready. It's easy to understand the appeal. Banks and car manufacturers make it seem like driving a luxury car is synonymous with success. The feel of new leather, the cutting-edge technology, the roar of the engine. All of this seems to scream, "You've won." But in practice, what many people are doing is paying a lot in interest for something that only loses value over time. And that, in the view of many Chinese, is simply irrational. There, the mentality is different. A car is a means of transportation. Period. It's not a status symbol. Buying an expensive vehicle and paying in installments with high interest rates is seen as a strategic mistake, a luxury that delays bigger dreams. For them, financial intelligence is not about showing off. It's about efficiency. Economical models with good durability, low consumption, and that can be paid for in cash. That's the ideal standard. And when it's not possible to pay in cash, they postpone the purchase or choose something cheaper, because freedom is worth more than appearance. Now stop and think. In the United States, millions of people drive $50,000 cars, while living on less than $2,000 in their bank account. Worse still, many people don't even realize how much they'll end up paying, with interest, fees, and insurance included. A car that seems to cost $50,000 can easily end up costing $70,000 or more after 5 or 6 years of financing. And the most curious thing, Many Chinese people, even with the financial capacity to buy expensive cars, choose not to do so. They prefer to use this capital to invest, start a business, buy properties to rent, or even maintain liquidity for future opportunities, because they know that a car attracts attention today, but a solid portfolio will support you for the rest of your life. Another interesting detail: with the advancement of technology and mobility apps, many people there no longer see any point in owning their own car. They use the money that would be spent on installments, insurance, property taxes, maintenance, and gasoline for things that generate returns and also avoid the stress of traffic and parking. The message is clear: having an expensive car doesn't make you rich. But being the master of your time, your decisions, and your money, that is freedom. The next expense seems small, but it is present in almost every home, and almost no one realizes how much it weighs on their pocket. It is one of those invisible villains that adds up month after month until it eats away at your surplus margin. Fifth waste: phantom subscriptions and monthly fees. There is a type of waste that doesn't scream on your bank statement. It whispers, it goes unnoticed. But when added up, it steals a huge slice of your financial freedom. These are the so-called phantom expenses: subscriptions that were made on impulse, forgotten services that continue to be charged every month, and that gym that has become a silent donor to your credit card. The most curious thing: it's that this type of expense usually passes as harmless. After all, it's only $8 here, $12 there, but when you realize it, it's more than $100 a month going down the drain without any use. In the United States, studies show that the average American spends more than $1,200 a year on services that they don't even use. And the worst part, many don't even remember that these charges are active. They stay there month after month because they were linked to a credit card and were never questioned again. In China, this kind of carelessness is simply not tolerated. Reviewing fixed expenses is almost a cultural practice. Many do it monthly, others even weekly. If something is not being used frequently or does not generate real value, it is cut out immediately. They see these small amounts as soldiers of their capital. If they are not working in their favor, they are being wasted. Every penny saved there can be redirected to something that generates income: an investment fund, a strategic reserve, or even education. What they do not do is let the money slip away through inattention. And it is not just with apps and platforms. How many times have you signed up for a free trial period and forgotten to cancel? How many services do you keep just in case? How many monthly fees do you pay to maintain the illusion that one day you will use it? These small decisions, added up over the years, can easily mean tens of thousands of dollars lost. Money that could be financing a new career, an exchange program, or even early retirement. Do you want a simple and powerful habit? Every month, look at each automatic charge on your statement and ask yourself, is this contributing to my life, or just taking money away from it? But the next wasteful act will stir your emotions because it involves something everyone wants to do for the love of it. But that can sink your finances if you don't wake up in time. Sixth, waste: expensive gifts to impress weddings, birthdays, baby showers, end-of-year parties. Every time a special occasion comes along, there's that invisible pressure. Will my gift be up to par? In the United States, it's common to see people spending hundreds of dollars on gifts just to avoid looking like stingy. And the funny thing is, many do this even when they're in debt, even without an emergency fund. The fear of looking poor or insensitive leads many people to buy more than they can afford. And why? To maintain an image, to follow social expectations, to avoid displeasing others. But in Chinese culture, this logic is practically reversed. The value of a gift isn't in its price, but in its purpose. There, giving something useful, symbolic, or made with personal care is worth much more than spending $200 on an expensive brand. It is common, for example, to give gifts such as special teas, meaningful books, regional crafts, or even envelopes with small amounts accompanied by an honest and affectionate note. Why? Because the focus is on connection, not ostentation. In the Chinese mentality, spending beyond one's means just to impress is a form of disguised financial insecurity. It is as if the person were saying, without realizing it, "I need to buy your admiration because I don't trust my own worth." And this does not only happen among adults. Many parents in the United States feel they need to give the most expensive gifts to their children, nephews, and godchildren as if love were measured by price tags. But this only teaches one thing, that affection can be bought. And this is a lesson that weighs heavily on the wallet and on the character. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, there is a deeper awareness. Generosity is not the same as exaggeration, and affection does not need to come wrapped in debt. This mentality protects both family ties and finances, because when love is clear, there is no need to prove anything with a credit card bill. Want a gift that never goes out of style? A real presence, sincere words, something done with intention, not guilt. It's not about being stingy, it's about being conscious. Because giving something that compromises your financial health is not noble, it's dangerous. And the last waste is the most dangerous of all because it has to do with time, focus, and mindset. It doesn't show up on your bank statement, but it can be the biggest thief of your wealth. Not all waste comes in the form of a bill or a receipt. Some of the most expensive waste comes disguised as distraction. Hours and hours immersed in discussions on social media that lead nowhere. Endless scrolling through empty entertainment videos. Heated debates about celebrities, reality shows, or conspiracy theories. At the end of the day, the brain is exhausted. But nothing has been built. No skills have been developed. No steps have been taken toward your goals. Now look at the contrast. In China, there is an almost reverential respect for time. There is a saying that sums up this mentality well: a wasted moment can never be bought back, not even with gold. And this view shapes behavior. Many Chinese, instead of spending hours consuming passive content, prefer to invest in something productive, learning a new skill, studying a language, deepening their knowledge of finance, developing a side business, or simply reading a good book that can expand their mind. It's not about working non-stop. It's about not wasting the chance to grow while others are sleeping with their eyes open. And this focus is reflected in the results. While some spend 3 hours a day arguing with strangers on the internet, others use those same 3 hours to learn how to multiply their money. Now stop and think. If time is the most scarce and valuable asset there is, why is it spent as if it were infinite? The truth is brutal. Every million starts with the intelligent use of 1 hour. And what's more, this waste is insidious because it doesn't hurt. No one receives a notification saying, "Congratulations, you wasted 4 hours of your life on nothing." It's silent, almost invisible, but lethal to your progress. In the end, the question that really matters is not, how much do you earn? It's, how are you using your time? Are you planting something or just watching life go by? While many still wait to have free time to change their lives, others with the same amount of hours in the day are already building their path to financial freedom. And now that you've seen the 7 wastes that the Chinese avoid with almost surgical discipline, comes the most important part: what to do with this knowledge. This isn't about becoming a monk, giving up on life, or saying no to every pleasure in life. It's not about being a tightwad. It's about being a strategist. It's about seeing each dollar as a soldier on the battlefield. You can send it to fight for you, or let it die in useless battles, like a forgotten coffee or a subscription you don't even remember exists. People who build true wealth, those who live freely without anxiety at the end of the month, don't have luck or hidden secrets. They make decisions with more awareness than emotion. And what about these 7 habits we've explored here? They're not magic formulas or exotic traditions from a distant country. They're intentional choices, made every day by people who understand a simple truth. What seems small today grows over time for better or worse. And when you change the way you spend, you don't just change your bank account. You change your lifestyle, your self-esteem, your future. There are people who still believe that getting rich means winning the lottery or finding the perfect investment. But those who get there usually get there by avoiding the pits that swallow money without mercy. And that's the turning point. Stop chasing after what shines and start protecting what you already have. Because financial freedom doesn't start with earning more. It starts with stopping losing. If any part of this video made you look at your own habits differently, then it was worth every second. Now, like and subscribe to the channel because here we talk about money without fuss, without miraculous promises, and with our feet on the ground. You don't need to cut everything. You don't need to become someone else overnight, but you need to start thinking like someone who wants to go far. Because spending well is much more powerful than appearing rich. And always remember this: money doesn't like noise. It grows in the silence of smart decisions. See you in the next video with more ideas that strengthen the mind and build the freedom you deserve. See you there.